Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. We're hiding over at the side of the house because there have been some major developments in the front of the house and also at the side of the house where I've been doing some serious work on the Craic Shack and also on the front garden. So you can see all the tools are laid out here. I've just finished up for the day and the results by the end of this video I think are pretty wonderful and I'm so excited to share them. So let's just get into the video and I'll see you again at the end. Good morning everybody from a beautiful day. I've actually just been down at Sinead's place checking out the progress on her new house and it's amazing how quickly they're going. Maybe you can hear the machinery going down there. It's kind of stopping and starting. There's a huge digger. There's some cement mixing going on and things are very exciting. And I'm wondering what the best way might be to share the progress down at her place because I'm sort of going down a few times a day and just recording the guys doing the work. Not getting too close, not getting in their way. And I'd like to keep you guys updated on things, but I'm wondering if it's better to just wait a little while and do a video all together dedicated to Sinead's build, or just to drop sections of her build into my videos from time to time. I could, I guess, in theory, have a whole video just about her build, possibly having her talk about things. I haven't really decided the best way to share it, so if you have any strong opinions on this matter, please do let me know in the comments and I'll take them into consideration. But for me, the action is all up here, and after a day of rain yesterday, and then a birthday lunch with my friend Billy, and a whole bunch of other friends, I'm back to it, and I have a full day without any interruption that I can completely dedicate to trying to figure out how to attach the bottoms of the posts onto the rocks and to get moving on the rest of the timber pieces, probably continuing on by making the other one that's going to go on this side. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Yeah, let's just get into it. So I'm going to keep the camera mostly off today, but I'll check in from time to time when I do something a little bit different or push things forward in a way that you haven't seen before. So wish me luck. I've got a lot of ambitious goals for this day, including assembling that piece, getting the diagonal braces on, and the most important thing is figuring out a way to attach the wood onto the stone, so that makes it easier to get the whole thing tilted up and attached to the foundation. So my biggest challenge for the workday was trying to figure out how to attach bits of wood onto the stone so that they're level in both directions, so that when it comes time to attach the bottoms of the post of the structure onto the actual foundation, I have something that's easier to attach to than the stone. But this job has been filling me with dread for a really long time, and quite frankly I've been pushing it off and avoiding it because it's given me the fear. But in the end, I decided that the best approach was to get the grinder out and just go for it on the stones and try to make them as level as possible to fit the piece of wood onto the stone, and then get it all fastened on in place. And in theory, that would provide this level base for me. In reality, it was really difficult, but I got there in the end and eventually grinded away enough stone and was able to continually test it, putting the wood on, putting the level on the wood, grinding out a little bit more here and there, and it was extremely time consuming, but in the end I got the results I was hoping for. So with the level base on the stone to work from, in theory it should have made it much easier to attach, and it would have, except for when I went to the shops earlier, I accidentally bought two 8mm bits instead of one 8mm and one 10mm. So what I needed was 10mm, of course, and I didn't have one. So I was trying to get these plugs in using a bit that was too small, whereas my problem previously had been using a bit that was too large. So in the end, I kind of couldn't win with this problem, but I just sort of persevered and tried to bash the plugs in as much as I could, and where they broke, I just chopped off the end, and somehow it still worked out the bolts went in there and the wood is extremely secure on the stones. So that was a surprising and very happy result given how much I struggled trying to get these plugs into the stones. So while it was really quite a frustrating morning of work, I did accomplish my goal in the end with much struggle and a lot of time, but I feel like I learned some things along the way, and I feel when you have jobs like this that are a struggle, when you actually get it done at the end, it feels very rewarding, and I feel quite proud that this weird idea of mine seems to have worked out okay. And then the last, but probably the most important part of this whole thing was figuring out the height difference between the two pieces of wood on each corner so I could know how short to chop off the posts so that everything would sit level when it was all assembled. So I gotta say that was definitely a difficult and frustrating start to the day, but I got it done. I got this piece attached and level in both directions. I got that piece attached and level in both directions. And I've got a straight edge sitting 9 centimeters above this piece of wood. And as you can see, it's level or close to it. So that means I need to have the front post 9 centimeters longer than the back post. So even though this has been incredibly slow and quite difficult actually, I think I've proved my concept. It's going to be a lot easier for me to attach the bottoms of the post onto these pieces of wood instead of trying to drill into the stone and put plugs in and stuff like that. So I'm happy with how things have gone, even though it was very slow going. It took a bunch of trial and error, but I got there in the end. I have a plan. Things are going well, if slow, but what else is new? And before I put the camera away, let's just say hello to this little guy because he's adorable. He's just having a little bath on the rock, enjoying life. And yeah, always around, always supervising. So this is where I'm at, and I've got some major chopping to do on these posts, and I'm gonna see if I can get the second one assembled as well. And in the afternoon, I was back to carpentry work with the wood. Though I enjoy stonework, drilling and grinding and all the dusty stuff and noisy stuff where you have to have all the safety gear on, it gets old, and so it's nice to switch it up between that stuff and carpentry, which is just nice and calm and lovely. And then I actually finally attached some of the pieces of wood together with the bolts, and Shanae came up and helped me shiggle things around a little bit, square everything off in preparation for putting the cross braces in the next day. And then in the evening, I powered through and I ended up working on the second bent, so the opposite wall, the one on the left, if you're facing the front of the shed. I got started on that, and yeah, just continue to power through piece by piece, little by little, and eventually I'll have all the pieces I need cut to size, and we'll be just able to assemble the whole thing like a big jigsaw puzzle. And this is a super important project for me, and I want to make sure I get everything right. So I'm gonna take things slow as usual and really enjoy the process. Good morning from a gloriously beautiful new day. As you can see, I spent some of last night finishing off this second bent, or at least getting the pieces to sit in properly. And I have a lot of work that I want to get done today on the rest of this. I've left my tools out in anticipation of continuing work. And over here, I have the results of what was sometimes frustrating, but very educational and rewarding day of work. I definitely feel like I'm learning as I'm going with this process, especially with attaching wood onto stone. It's a bit tricky, but I feel like I'm learning a few tips and tricks along the way, and it does help to have the correct size bits for the right sized plug, but that's a lesson that I'll take forward, and I'll be extra careful that I don't buy two of the exact same bits in the future, because obviously that's useless and ridiculous. So I'm hoping to possibly get that assembled in the coming days, and I definitely want to take this piece and chop the end off to the correct length, especially at the back, and get the whole thing tilted up into place just so I can see what it's going to look like. But I'm going to leave that for a little later on. I think I need a break from the timber work so I can process, so I can think about things. I have been dreaming about it, but yeah, there's a few little things that I want to think about a bit more. So I figured while I do that, I might as well tackle this garden and whatever the heck is happening over here, and just tidy up the front of the house a bit more while I ponder what to do about the rest of the Craic Shack. So let's get the tools out and do some weeding. Okay, so I've definitely gone extreme with the sage pruning, but it just takes up so much space, and I really want this bed to be nice and diverse with lots of beautiful, colorful things. And yeah, this has taken up a lot of space for far too long, and I know it's gonna grow back, so it's all good. And I feel okay about that. So it's quite drastic, to say the least, and I definitely have a lot of dried sage in my future, but I'm looking forward to making space to put in some more pretty flowers. Okay, so the sage is drying. It smells incredible in here. I'll definitely be drinking sage tea until my end of days. This little guy. Hello, little intruder. This is not a buffet. This is not for you, do you hear me? So the plants are doing really well. I've got tomatoes that definitely need to go into the ground, butternut squash, melons. So I need to get on making garden beds, and I'm gonna do that probably in my next video as my next major job, because things in here, they're looking great, they're looking tasty. But yeah, right now it's all about the weeds. So I'm gonna put this little guy in a safe spot and then tackle the weediness, plant some flowers, and make it look very beautiful and very tasty. There you go, little guy. On you go. Go that way. Okay, let's do this. I have no idea what this stuff is. I've never seen it before, and it seems to have popped up with a vengeance. So it's kind of pretty, but it's gotta go. Maybe it smells like fennel. Is it fennel gone absolutely crazy? It could be, because in here there definitely is fennel, but I've never seen it explode like this before. So if anyone knows, let me know in the comments. It is very satisfying to pull it out though. I wasn't expecting this mystery plant to be so stubborn, so I was just using the regular clippers, which I almost never use. So I'm gonna get the tool of joy out and go at this thing properly. That's more like it. So I've got a lot of trimming of things to do. I might actually even prune my jasmine for the first time ever. Snip off some of the olive stuff. I've even got what looks like an oak growing in here. I'll get rid of that. And then I'll just make the bed look nice, get rid of all the weeds, and get everything prepared for planting of some flowers in the garden bed. Okay, done, and what a change. I put a bit of extra effort in. I built up some more rocks just to have a more even level across the whole flower bed. Hi, Larry. What do you think of the new flower bed? Gonna plant some pretty things in there for you. Yes. So, I trimmed the thyme off, and the neighbor came by at that exact moment, and I gave her some of that, so that was nice to share the thyme love. The sage is looking kind of sad. I trimmed the grapes. I don't know if I should have at this moment in time, but I did anyway because they were all over the place. I weeded the side of the house, trimmed off some of the jasmine, got rid of whatever that weird plant was in there intertwined with the irises, snipped off some of the roots for that weird plant, and got a few flowers out to plant. So I've got, what is that one? Cosmos, I think. Yep. This one is called Bachelor Button. And this one is African Daisy. And I'm going to see what else I have in the polytunnel because I feel like I have a few other things and I'd like to have a mix. What do you think? A mix? Yes, I think so too. So let's see what I have over here. I've got a forget-me-not. I don't know if that's a weed or the flower. It looks kind of weedy to me. Don't even know what's in there. Evening primrose. Maybe I'll see what that looks like and get that in the ground. Pink queen. Sounds interesting. Again, it's hard to tell what might be weeds and what might be flowers. Could that be a flower? Is it a weed? Is that a flower? I truly have no idea. I don't have a lot of experience with flowers. Echinacea. Again, not sure what's weeds, what's flowers. So, what is this one? Dianthus. So that looks like it's germinated. Evening primrose looks like it's germinated. And candy tuft. Again, not sure which is which. Sweet William looks like it's germinated. What else have I got in here? That's a poppy. What are you? Bachelor button again. And calendula, which I'm going to stick in the garden. Alright, so I've got a few more things. Let's get the flowers in and get them growing and looking beautiful and make this garden something very, very special. So I'd really like to familiarize myself with all the different flowers and get to know them better. So I'm going to label them on these giant popsicle sticks that are super handy. And I feel like I might just plant one of each thing for now. And I possibly should have repotted these ones so they were bigger going in, but I think they'll be fine. Maybe I'll just do a little clump of them and see what happens. So this one is Evening Primrose. You can go here. And let's find the corresponding stick. There it is. And get it in with the flower. Okay, next up we've got Sweet William. That's maybe, or was that Sweet William? No, this is Evening Primrose. All right. Out you go. Again, I'll just do a clump of these ones and see what happens. I can always thin it out later on if I need to. I have no idea how big these grow. I know nothing about any of them. I don't even really know what they look like. I looked them all up briefly on the internet, but I don't really remember. So it's going to be interesting to see this garden come to life. And then over here we've got Dianthus. So, out you come. And into the ground you go. Okay, those are looking lovely. Hopefully they have enough space. And then over here we've got the last three to go in. Let's do it the fast way. Okay, I love it. I'm obsessed with this little garden. I think it looks absolutely fabulous in front of the house. And I really hope these flowers grow up to be big and strong and that this garden really does thrive. So I'm going to give it a drink. And hopefully we start to see some colors from these young flowers very soon. because having just a burst of color right in front of the house I think is going to be amazing. I love the sage, but that was a lot of sage in one place, and ain't nobody needs that much sage in one place when you have options for color and flowers and lots of beauty right in front of your house. Speaking of flowers, I've got a little update for you on Tracy Trumpet. Let's give her a bit of a drink. There we go. It's been pretty hot and humid lately. So I've got some signs of flowers there. Lots of flowers on the interior of the plant actually, and she's growing up to be bigger and stronger than I've ever seen her before after looking super sad over the winter. So that's really impressive to see. And yeah, things are just looking really nice at the moment. So I got a bit overexcited with that little project and did way more than I was planning to do. And of course, time has marched on, and I'm not sure how much I'm gonna get to on the Craic Shack, but I'm determined to do a couple of things. So the first thing I'd like to do is get the pieces that are gonna act as the wattles for the wattle and daub wall. They're gonna basically be thin 2-centimeter pieces that go across the span of the wall on two sides. It's probably not gonna make any sense until I start working on it, but it just means I'm gonna attach a few of these on, and then I can take this piece off, which will give me space to lop the ends of the post off to the correct length. And the second thing I'd love to do is get the two cross braces on, there and there, there and there, so I can take these off and basically make it so the wall is ready to go vertical. So unfortunately, I don't have any intention of going vertical with this thing today, even though I have a pretty good plan of what I want to do. I'm happy with the design, and I'm feeling confident about everything. I am feeling tired, and I don't like doing important things when I'm tired. And for some reason, the idea of chopping off the ends of these posts to the correct length is filling me with dread, because it's quite a big thing to do. And I'd rather delay it until tomorrow when I'm fresh and ready to tackle it. So this is an easy, mindless job, and that's about what I'm capable of at the moment. So I'm gonna get some of these things on, and yeah, I'll be happy with that and the braces as my work for tonight. And so as usual, I'm rambling on, which is what I always do when I get really tired. So less talking, let's get these things attached the fast way. So as with everything I do, nothing was fast. I ended up sanding these because they were super splintery and I didn't really want to have to work with them with lots of jaggy bits hanging off. So I've been basically attaching these one by one with nails that are actually too short, but it's what I have, so I'm just gonna put 2 nails in each piece. And it's kind of hard to explain, but all the force when I plaster this thing is gonna come from this side, so I'm not worried about them popping off with short nails. And I think 2 will be okay, and this is what I have, and this is all I have, so it's gonna have to work. So basically all I've been doing is putting each piece on, using this little bit as a spacer, and then nailing them in. So let's do this last one together. So the spacer is only there to make sure everything stays more or less square, but this actually doesn't matter so much. It's not really structural. It's gonna be within the wall, and it's only there to hold in a straw mixture that I'm gonna make that's gonna be mixed with lime. The straw mixture will be forced in and it'll stick through the cracks, and then it's gonna give me a flat-ish surface to plaster onto, especially since I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put OSB board on this when I add the lime in the middle. And it's hard to explain, but just trust me when I say this doesn't have to be beautiful, it just has to be functional. So the spacer is nice to have, but not essential. So because the nails are crap, I'm just gonna put 2 in each piece. And I know a lot of you out there say I should invest in a nail gun. And it's times like these where I agree with you. But I do love a mindless task at this time of the day, and there's something very satisfying about this. Okay, job done for the moment. This will eventually go all the way up and then all the way up there. I'll leave space for some windows, possibly not on this side, but definitely on the other side. Haven't decided yet. There won't be any windows on this side because this is going to be a little bathroom area, so this will be closed off. And maybe you can hear the engine noises down there. That's Sinead going for it with the strimmer, so we're both working hard today, enjoying this beautiful weather. And yeah, just trying to get stuff done before everything gets way hotter. So now my goal is to get this brace on and get that brace on. And I think to do that, I'm going to use the ratchet strap just to make sure everything's nice and tight. As somebody who mostly works by myself, I'm a big fan of the old ratchet strap and the clamps and anything that holds stuff in place while I work, especially when I'm drilling things in. It just seems like a no-brainer, and especially when it's such an important piece, such as this cross brace. It needs to be in there pretty tightly, and I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I have enough hands to actually get this done. Holding it while pulling everything tight. Yeah, it works in my head, but sometimes stuff that works in my head doesn't really translate to real life, so I don't know. Let's see if this goes. But the idea is using the ratchet strap to hold the piece really tightly in place. There we go. So that when I drill it, it doesn't want to move around anywhere. I'm not sold on this idea. It doesn't seem to want to do what I want it to do, or does it? That's okay. Little hammer action. So I guess this is mostly doing what I expected it to do. Should probably actually measure. 46 there, 47 there, so it's kind of a bit out of whack, which might explain why it's not sitting in as nicely as I would like it to. More or less. More or less okay. So, let's get this on a bit tighter and do a pre-drill. Oops. Don't lean on the brace. It is a good rule. So I've actually decided that I'm not completely happy with how this is. It's close, but it's not totally spot on, so I'm going to need to think about it a little bit more to get everything to sit flush. And also, I can't find the bit that I use to get these things in, so I've got some hunting around to do for that thing. So rather than pushing on tonight while I'm exhausted, I'm just going to start tomorrow fresh and tackle all these problems tomorrow and hopefully get this thing ready to go up by then. So it's been a really fun day of work. I'm so happy with the garden and excited to continue pushing on with this tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. I don't know what that weird wave was. Goodbye, good night, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for some more carpentry work. Hello again from an overcast and kind of chilly day, but it's really a perfect day for working. I've set things up so this is flush, and I couldn't find that bit that I need, so I'm going to use these long screws instead, which I think will be fine. And in addition to these long ones, I've got these slightly shorter ones, and I'm just going to toenail those in for added strength. And I love a pre-drill, and I think it's going to be important because I don't actually have the correct bit for this thing either, but I feel like with a pre-drill I can get it done. I feel like one of my greatest life goals is to finally be organized with a whole selection of bits and screwdriver bits and driver bits, or whatever they're all called, and just have them in order, organized, plentiful. Because it's very frustrating when you can't find the correct bit, and it's even more frustrating when I know it's my own damned fault. But as it happens, this is going to be the perfect size for the screws I want to use. So hopefully it means that not having the right bit for the screwdriver won't really matter that much. Okay, fingers crossed. Ah, I love it. Whew. Well, that went a lot better than I expected. So I have a lot to do today. I want to get the other side of this in. I want to get the second brace on. I want to get more of these things across going up at the top. And then I'll check in when I'm ready to chop off the bottoms of the posts and hopefully tilt it all up just to see what it looks like. I'll probably bring it back down after that while I work on the other side. But yeah, lots to do. So I'll see you guys hopefully pretty soon. Okay guys, it's a couple hours later and I'm back. I've added on that second brace, sanded up and added on more of these little guys. And I decided to put some screws in here and there just because that's what my gut told me to do. And a lot of the time has been spent measuring stuff. So I've written some numbers down and I've got the measurements that I need, but it's not really square like I was hoping. So according to all my measurements, this is where I should be chopping. This is going to be 9 centimeters shorter than the front. And as you can see, after doing all of my measurements and checking them a million times, it's not really sitting square. I've put the square on there, it's not square. And so I'm not exactly sure what to do except for lop it off, tilt it up, and see what it looks like. And I do have some wiggle room to continue to go shorter. So once I get it in place, if it's looking really, really crazy, I can mark it up and chop it again. So Mikey and Larry were in here just having a snooze, enjoying life. And I came into the sound of some rustling of the food. And Larry and Mikey just kind of chilled on the bed for a little bit. Sort of alarmed, but not really knowing what was going on. And then a black and white kitty cat ran past me out the door and down the lane. And I've seen this cat sniffing around a little bit yesterday. And so it would appear that my cats are not exactly the best defenders of the castle. They were just having a snooze. And this other cat just wandered in and started eating their food until I came along. So since the two boys are so relaxed, I guess I'm gonna have to keep the door closed. Yeah? You're not gonna defend your place for me, are you? Don't worry, that's just Mikey. Where were you two when I needed you? Who was that strange cat? Who was he or she? You guys don't seem bothered, but I would really prefer not to go full cat lady mode with 3 cats in my tiny house. So the door shall remain closed. And now let's saw. Let's saw. Let's saw. Exactly. But before I do the scary cuts, I'd love to get these pieces chopped off on a 30-degree angle. So the saw is set and the line is being drawn as we speak. And the reason I want to do this is because when it comes to plastering this thing, I'd love to make the corners on the outside nice and rounded. And if I have less of a sharp angle on these end bits, it's going to make it a lot easier in the future. I've never made a cut to such a sharp degree before. I think I've only ever used these saws at 90 degrees, so this is going to be interesting. I always love trying things for the first time, but it's always a little bit intimidating as well. So let's give it a go. This angle is very awkward. All right, that's pretty good. Now the other side. It's looking pretty good. And now it's time to cut off the ends of the post, but this saw is not gonna do. This is a job for Mega Saw, set to its optimal depth, and then I'm gonna have to finish it off with a handsaw. So this is an important and therefore kind of scary cut, but I feel like I've checked my measurements a million times, and besides the bottom part not being as square as I would like it to be, which hopefully is something I can fix, I feel okay-ish about making this cut, so let's just do it, and yeah, hope for the best, as usual. Okay, phase 1 looks good. On the line more or less. Time for phase 2. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It's looking good. And now I just need to chop off the other end and then prepare a bunch of things on the underside so that it's easy to lift when Sinead comes up to help me. So a little bit more work to do, and then we're gonna get this thing in place and see how it looks. Okay, everything is set up for the great lift of 2026.
Tell me the plan.
All right, the plan is maybe you go on the tall side.
Okay.
I go on the short side, and we tilt her up, gentle, although it should be pretty sturdy. And then one of us holds it into place, and I'm gonna mark out the bottoms of the post and stand back and take a look, and then we'll bring it back down.
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. I feel like the front could be too high.
Yeah, is that the angle of the roof?
Yeah, it's pretty cray-cray.
It's pretty slopey.
Too slopey.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I think so too.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, that is a little ridiculous, slope-wise.
It's very slopey. It does look a bit nuts.
It looks a lot nuts, actually.
Yeah.
Perhaps I've made a horrible mistake somewhere.
I wouldn't say horrible.
But mistake.
Yeah, what height is that? This is a Dutch house.
She is high. Yeah, I reckon I could lop off like 25, 30 centimeters. And I think I will, but first it might be a good idea to go to the tile store and see what's up there. So I don't know exactly where these things are meant to sit on the wood, and where I choose to place them is going to depend on what's going on at the other side of the building. So if I mark the bottoms of the post, it'll give me something to work from, and then I can kind of square things off from the marking instead of having to keep putting this thing up and down. That is the method to the madness. I don't want this to be too obnoxious, and that's a bit obnoxious. That's a bit obnoxious up there, yeah. All right, cool. Let's get her down and call it a day. Beautiful. Thank you very much. So this has been a really long video, and I feel like ending the video after raising up one of the walls, assessing, realizing the slope is nuts, and lowering it back down safely, seeing that it all fits together and that the bottoms of the posts are actually really quite well lined up. Seems like a fabulous end to what has been a very busy few days, and hopefully an interesting video as I've puzzled through lots of carpentry stuff, and yeah, had some pretty good results, I think. Plus the garden in the front of the house is looking excellent and will look even better once the flowers start to bloom. So it's been a really fun few days, and I couldn't be happier with all the results. I hope you've enjoyed the video as well. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.